with Senator Dickey and myself signing the report.
You are recognized for opening comments.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. This bill exempts from child abuse a person raising, guiding, or instructing a child in a manner consistent with the child's sex. This includes but is not limited to the following: referring to the child by titles or pronouns consistent with the child's sex, seeking and consenting to mental health service for the purpose of helping the child live consistent with the child's sex, making mental health or medical decisions based on the child's sex, declining to consent to gender transition procedures related activities for the child. And the bill adds the above to foster parent language in the code, court-ordered custody considerations in divorce, prospective adoptive parents, and exemptions to child endangerment. That concludes my opening remarks.
Are there questions or comments on the bill? Senator Quirnbach, you are recognized.
Well, thank you, Mr. Chair. I'm in opposition to this bill for a number of reasons. At the subcommittee meeting, the room was full and a lot of people there on both sides. I asked the gathered audience if they could give us a single example in Iowa of anybody being prosecuted for child abuse for any of the reasons listed in the bill and that would be exempted under the bill. Nobody could give us so much as a single example. So it seems to me that this is a solution in search of a problem, and I would oppose it just on that grounds. If there were such an example or such a case, though, the wording here in the bill is broad enough that I think would need to be or would be better addressed in a court that could examine the context, that could examine the particulars of an individual situation to see whether any of these terms here were in fact abusive. Let me give you an example, and this is one that got a lot of attention at the subcommittee meeting. Item 2B under paragraph B, seeking and consenting to a mental health service for a child for the purpose of helping the child live a life consistent with the child's sex. Now, that's pretty broad, and I can imagine a variety of different things falling in under that umbrella. For example, if you had a 13, 14-year-old girl who liked roughhousing and wanted to go out for the wrestling team and dreamed of getting a Harley when she turned 16, I can imagine that girl might be getting some flack by, let's say, people who have a more traditional view of femininity. So giving her some counseling, telling her it's okay to want and do all of those things, and you're still a girl. I can see that kind of counseling. But I can also see other forms of counseling, various types of, I think the term conversion therapy would apply, where you use, let's say, coercive methods to try to persuade someone to live a life that is not true to their soul and to their character. Let me give you an example of that kind of thing. It was 10 years ago, down in, or just outside of Keokuk, there was a facility called Midwest Academy, I believe, that took in, quote-unquote, troubled youth, largely from out of state, and was supposed to change their attitudes and behavior. Well, upon further investigation, it turned out the methods that they were using were harsh, coercive, even cruel. And when that came to light, there was a great deal of shock across the state. We had to throw together a bill on a rushed basis. We got a good piece of bipartisan legislation to eliminate that kind of facility. Now, they weren't dealing with sexual orientation, but I can imagine a conversion therapy type program that used those kinds of techniques and that would certainly, in my view, constitute child abuse. I would not want this in the code to protect that kind of an approach to counseling. So for all of those reasons, I'm going to be opposed to this bill.
Okay. Are there other questions or comments? Seeing none, Senator Evans, you are in order for closing comments.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Well, I think we had a auditorium full of females at the state wrestling tournament that might be offended by the fact that we're going to classify the participation in high school wrestling as maybe not consistent with their gender. They might want to argue against that. Also, I would say that I want to thank Senator Cornbach because I think he supported some of my points. If there's no examples of prosecution in the state, if there's claiming that none of this is going on, then why would anyone be opposed to this bill? So I would expect that this will pass unanimously. And also applying the failings of one institution or one form of therapy, applying it broadly to all forms of therapy just because a parent might choose to raise their child in a certain manner, I think is a fallacy. So those conclude my closing remarks. I move the bill.
Senator Evans moves House File 2557. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed, no. Senator Blake, Senator Weiner, Senator Bisignano, Senator Peterson, Senator Cornbach vote no and are recorded. All right, thank you. This